Williams broadcast, of course. Uganda yomusajja n'atusumbuwa ate ye Greenland broadcast ate kakati atugambye ye Williams broadcast iye era Williams broadcast w'oyisanga kati ye Greenland broadcast. On a serious note gwatwegaseeko era ne Greenland broadcast ekyali yaffe naye nga tulina emirimu gyeyina okukola in particular ne Greenland media. So kati podcast season zigenda kubeera Williams podcast live and Williams broadcast. Waliwo ensonga lwaki tukivuga tutyo tofaayo kasita asigalanga abantu bojja okulaba kuno b'omuntu gw'olaba naddala atera okubeerako yenze wona osinza okugoberera webale nnyo okutwegattako kitalo nnyo bambi ekya Cedric Babu mutabani wa Honorable Francis Babu afudde. Kinajjukirwa nti emabega kaawo ya amawulire gabadde gatambula nga galaga nti abadde yeetaaga akawumbi kalamba n'ekitundu akasente za Uganda okugenda okujjanjabibwa ku nsonga ezikwatagana n'omutima. Ekifaananyi kyolabye wali ku thumbnail kyekifaananyi ekyo ekiba kiranga kw'osinzira okunyiga. So bwe tusoma wano famire ya Honorable Francis Babu era n'omukyala eyaliko East African Legislative Assembly Speaker Margaret Zua bambi tubasaasideko nnyo olw'omwana Cedric Babu omwami abadde ku myaka 49 oyo mwami aba muntu mukulu owaddala. Of course buli muntu yena kasitaafa ne bwaba badde muto ne bwaba muwere ne bwaba omuntu yena kasita afa buli muntu ajibalanga loosi nene nnyo. So kitalo nnyo kitalo ddala. Amawulire amalala mangi nnyo ngetuzza okwogerako. Amawulire erisingira ddala obukulu lyerya Kale Kayihura mulabyeko clip gyengera okuzannyira nga agamba nti abantu bonna bamugamba nti yeetaba mu kutta abantu muli Felix Kaweesi mukulu ba Sheikhs n'abalala mbw abalaba nga tebalina buvunaanyizibwa. Then ekirala nga thumbnail still bw'olabye etambula waliwo eggulire eddene Parliament lyegamba nti lya bulimba era neeteekawo n'ekigambo fake nga eddoboozi lino owuliriza abantu abawuliziganya omukyala n'omwami ng'omukyala bw'ayogera owulira eddoboozi bwe lifaanana abantu gwe bagambye nti Speaker wa Uganda mu Parliament omukyala Anita Among wadde nga omwogezi Chris Obore agenza n'awandiika ku socials zonna Facebook, Twitter and X, actually X that is Twitter, n'agamba nti ebyo bya bulimba. Kinajjukira nti era Chris Obore avunaanyizibwa ku communications mu Parliament era yatunnyonnyola luli eddoboozi bwe lyaliikinga mu Parliament nti Speaker ng'agamba nti make sure that those Bagandas don't get numbers. Now tegeze bulungi nnyo. So awo tugenda okutambulira olunaku lwaleero naye nga nsooke nkuyisemu chap. Nze Williams, of course this is Williams broadcast era nga njala kuyisa mu mawulire amalala go nange ovudde ku ggulire eryo bambi kitalo nnyo ekya Cedric abadde mu byampuliziganya. Of course abadde alina podcast ye nga ebeera ku mikutu egy'enjawulo abaddeko ku UBSO ate abadde mukungu mu PLU eya Jerome Hose Kainerugaba. So amawulire amalala gali around the world. Nalabye wano ba MPs bakkiriza ebbanja trillion 2 nambe za Uganda zeewolebwe okuziteeka mu ministry ya ekulirwa mukulu Kasaija zeewolebwe zijje ziyambeko okufundinga the current budget that is 2024-25 trillions 2. So kati ffe tuba n'obbirabanga bannamawulire nti Parliament yayisizza ebbanja eryo yalikkiriza baliyewole government eriyewole okusobola okufundinga the current budget 24-25 tuba tulinda waliwo bali tugambira nti ate sente ezeewolebwa zakozesebwa bubi bwe naaba tetuuseeyo nga tebazikozeseza bubi. That is very good of them. Tukyali ku Williams broadcast. In other news, definitely there is also a cartoon. John Salim Saleh addressed the Democratic Party National Executive Committee during their meeting in Gulu. Mbakutegeeza ggulire lyakufa kati ate n'olufuna eggulire nga likusesa. Jjukira nti ebya Honorable Norbert Mao biwanvu ate era bigazi nnyo. Wabaddeyo a meeting ey'aba delegates aba Democratic Party eggulu mbu omukulu John Salim Saleh wa Operation Wealth Creation n'abasisinkana abantu ne bagamba era this is their monitor I am quoting nga bagamba nti General Salim Saleh addressed the Democratic Party National Executive Committee during their meeting in Gulu. Olabanga it in the real sense would be an abomination of a political party having a delegates meeting or conference meeting, and the person they're trying, one of the people they are trying to remove from governance is meeting them, addressing them on what? I don't know. And this cartoon tells it all when you see them. Of course, Nobati MAO yavuddeyo n'ategeeza nti akolaganya ebbanga ddene nnyo ne General Musale so tumuggyeko omumwa n'olujjanja, n'ategeeza nti ne mu kalulu ke yawangula ak'obwa MP omu ku yamuyamba obutabba kalulu ke yali General Musale, okukuuma akalulu ka Honorable Nobati MAO. General Musale yamuyamba okulwanirira obuwanguzi bwe. Byonna byongera okubeera nga binyuma when it comes to news. Agoberera Williams broadcast, amawulire agamu ge tuleetanga gano tuba tugaleese tugateeke wano gwe osigale ng'ogalowoozaako, tugakuleetera gwe osigale ng'ogalowoozaako, ofumintirize ogere mu comment section nawe owe ebirowoozo byo. Mu mawulire amalala definitely bakolaga campaigns take center stage on day 1 of DP delegates conference. A title race rooms for the party's top position. Abagala okwesimbawo ku bukulembeze bwa Democratic Party. Of course mulimu Bokoto Central MP Mr. Richard Sebamala, Buyikwe South MP Dr. Lulume Bayega, ne incumbent of course Nobati MAO. Akalulu ak'omukulembeze agenda okukulembera Democratic Party ate era of course bajja okutunulako mu maaso wali mu kubakiikirira mu kalulu ka 2026 batandise. Wabukoto Central Mr. Richard Sebamala no Yikwe South Dr. Lulume Bayega ne MAO bajja. Kakati singa mbadde wa DP sirowooza nti nandikkiriza Honorable Nobati MAO ddala nga nyina ekirowoozo ekyokuwangula akalulu nga DP. Era nga bwe mba nkyakkiriza nti DP should be on the side of the opposition. And ddala bwe mba mmanyi ebyafaayo ebituufu n'omusingi okuyimiridde DP, I wouldn't allow Honorable Nobati MAO to be the president again. With my views, of course. One is that according to what I've seen him do, the way he has acted, and many stuff around him, and all the wrangles and the havoc and the bicker has been around him and the party in particular, him and versus the members of parliament, members of the party and the senior members for that matter. Zetooza tabadde custodian mulungi nnyo, tabadde mukulembeze mulungi nnyo, tabadde good presiding officer, ta presidinze bulungi over DP. So sirowooza nti nani mukomezaawo n'engeri gye sirondera mu DP. I'm just giving my opinion, and my opinion I'm entitled to my own opinion era esigala awo. However, omuntu ayinza okugaa nti William era kasita okyogeddeko ogezaako ku influencing akalulu ka DP. I cannot, of course. I'm just a podcast, and that is William's broadcast. Thank you very much. Of course, akalulu kaabwe kagenda maaso. In other news, twafiiriddwa Ngugi Atiano omuna Kenya abadde muwandiisi wa literature omulungi, abambi kitalo nnyo ekya Ngugi. Omuwandiisi oyo yasanga okusomozebwa kungi nnyo, baamusikako ne banaawaŋŋanguka n'ebirala bingi nnyo ne bibaawo ku ye. Lino eggulire ndowooza lyetaaga kulinnyonnyola, ebyo si lyaffe katulireke, katweyongereyo. Security blocks roads to Photopoto ahead of NOP. Of course, NOP ebadde ina campaign gyevuga emabega kaawo. Jjukira nti National Unity Platform abantu bangi nnyo abamu batera okugamba nti naye NOP erina amaanyi beyond Central Region, beyond the Kampala Metropolitan, beyond the Wakiso district, beyond the Central, beyond. Kakati ekivaamu ogera okulaba nga National Unity Platform etaggulula ebigere, etandika okugenda, etandikira nnyo Busoga awo, ebadde ereeze egenze eri engulu. Bwe yavudde engulu ng'egamba eyagala genda ku Fort Portal. Of course ogenda okukebera wano nga bagigambye aba security nti mumanyi mukomaawo. So the story is like security nyine eddogo wano gyenja okukuba omuggo buli beeraba abantu abali eweeru ebaboggolera. So security blocks roads to Fort Portal ahead of Northwestern protest vote campaign launch. Protest vote campaign national unity platform. Those up to now, digging deep into what it all means. What does protest vote mean? Investigatively to bring to you people our opinions and what we have researched about and what we came up with. We have our findings, of course, in regards to the protest votes. And execute operatives nobody in fear. Protest voting. So that is also another thing. The state has lined up evidence. It claims will implicate jail the opposition leader. State definitely to batwogera ku regime ya Jaja Yoweri Museveni, including the security operatives baleese obujulizi obulala bwe bagamba nti buno bwe bugenda okuluma Dr. Kale Kayihura nawuliddeyo n'omulala ayina ensonga za nnyonnyolaawo ng'azinnyonnyola nze obukakafu mbulina n'ebirala era byagira n'amenya n'amannya Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago Ssemujunganda yugira ensonga eziri mu kooti naffe ku Williams broadcast tukuwa just update that nti waliwo omuntu yazze okuwa obujulizi n'olukalala lw'abantu abagambibwa okuba nti ebiseera bye bali bagenda kutambula bagende e Nairobi, abamu bali babaddeko e Nairobi, ate ne Nairobi tugimanyi mu byafaayo bya revolution za Uganda. Revolution za Uganda buli bazigenda okubeerawo oba entalo za Uganda beziba zigenda okubeerawo wabeerawo nnyo a lot of Nairobi, Kenya, Kisumu, and a little bit of Tanzania. So waliwo abantu batadde ku lukalala olwo abagambibwa okuba mbo bayinza n'okuba nga baali bagenda kukola ne Kale Kayihura okuwuttula munne mbu abantu babyogera nti era Kale Kayihura mbu yali apanze mbu asinziremu waggulu mu bbanga mbu akube munne emmundu nkisekeramu nere kinyumanyo. So the state has lined up evidence it claims will implicate jailed opposition leader Dr. Kale Kayihura alongside two co-accused in alleged elaborate treason plot against to assassinate President Yoweri Museveni. That is an update. In Ziruka speed of Tukawali, China hitting the back. You can say Emabigakao, Donald Trump about day threatening Ganya and Wanji about slapping the tariffs. Benja Urumala, Abe Canada, Nabonga Mugamba, Totwe Panki, Lako, Abe China, Bawadenga, ultimatum Z, deadline Z, which Taba, no Zanti, China, Bafu Siva, Nampulida Zwi, Pachagani, Ilaba Mugambi, Akuri, Chakora. Muli Gonga Man, Supreme Court allows Donald Trump to revoke legal status for Mitwala Atano, Java migrants. The Supreme Court in the United States of America yakiriza Trump ntikati asobola okurevokinga legal status y'abantu emitwalo 5 mirambirira. Donald Trump's administration can temporarily revoke the ebiralaawo. Elon Musk waddenga contract ye n'administration ya Trump eweddewo. Donald Trump namulabye ng'agamba nti Elon Musk akyaliwo is here still to stay. Jokira Elon Musk bintu bingi nnyo ebigenze maaso wabeeredde a part of the administration, human resource abadde shaken. Abantu bangi nnyo bafiiriddwa emirimu naddala wano okuliraana in the dame of Washington DC, Maryland and Virginia. Abantu bangi bafiiriddwa emirimu. Bw'osobola okulabako n'agamba nti nze nali nkola mwanya mu administration, nali ndi mu kino ne babagoba era abantu abadde bafiguring out to kubanyingiza emirimu egy'enjawulo abafiiriddwa eri emirimu mortgages ziri mu buzibu kati emmotoka zaabwe credits n'ebirala ng'era abadde avunaanyizibwa ku shakinga up overhauling the human resource ecosystem abadde Elon Musk. Kati ye Trump agamba nti wadde contract ye eggwa ebintu bikyagenda maaso. Of course for creatives there is a story of Taylor Swift. But artists, when you're working under a record label, independent record label, a major label, Sony, Universal, sometimes you might be a music artist performing and a recording artist doing business with the record label, but you don't own those records, the albums, the etc. They are sometimes or more, in most cases, owned by a record label. So Taylor Swift was able to regain ownership of his property in terms of the music. Taylor Swift has bought back the rights to her first 6 albums, ending a long-running battle over the ownership of her music. Yeah, abadali ali mu mbiri geyo nga bwejjukira nti ba artists bangi nnyo batera okugwa naddala mu US, a little bit of in Africa, olwa okuba nti record labels zizine zibavunanyizibwako zitwala all the rights. For example, I'll give you another example of the lady from St. Vincent, Jude Boucher, had several albums, but the fundamental one is the 1985 album of Dreaming of a Little Island and Can't Be With You Tonight, Lovely Paradise, Top of the World. Was a big album, actually the first ever song to play on Capital London in the morning, which was a 16-bit low ballad, was Can't Be With You Tonight. It was an abomination for a song slow like Can't Be With You Tonight to play in a morning breakfast show. Normally on Capital London and in normal programming on radio, we schedulers and programmers, we prefer fast-paced songs that can put people out of their bed, get on the road, or get breakfast, get on the road, take kids to school, get to work, and etc. You've got to play vibrant music. But for the very first time in 1985, Capital London played Can't Be With You Tonight by Judy Boucher. But with all the songs and the hits she made with her producer then and manager songwriter, she's poor now, having a kiosk in St. Vincent. All came to be due to wrong signings of contracts. Some examples in Uganda also, Eagles Production, individual artists signed wrong agreements or contracts with the likes of Rusini, Kasiwukira and etc. na music wale babanga bamutwalako. So kino kya record labels fufugaza nnyo ba artists. So Taylor Swift ekyo tulampo marito advice to Macron bamukuba oluyi Emmanuel owa Bufaransa president kati bwe bamukuba oluyi mukyala we bali balina corridor y'ennyonyi. Macron yali avuddeyo atumubireko bw'ati ate omukyala n'amuweregereza oluyi kati lwaki yakuba munne. Donald Trump amugambye nti omanyi ky'oba olina okukola kakasa nti buli bwe mubanga mulina we muli enzigi muzigale nga muzinyweze. Trump is always like that. Yo agogamala bwe maze okuyitira mu ago kansooke mpusanyira kalombo eddoboozi lino erya omukulu General Kale Kayihura, Inspector General of Police in Uganda. It was with Colonel Mugume, a journalist, at NBS, at Next Media, of course, NBS, during a one-on-one discussion. In this clip, General Kayihura is like, let us have it, then I'll be back. I am Williams.
It's really angry when I see some very responsible, I don't know what this is for one, saying that I was behind the murders of Sheikhs. Really? You remember Canada, what I suffered in 2018 when I was falsely accused in respect to the murder of Comrade IGP Kaweesi, who was very, very close to me.
NBS. That is it. Ako kakwata ku mukulu General Kale Kayihura. Eggulire ddala actually esagala kwerabira. Nalabye ekibiina kya Muhammad Nsereko kyamulonze nga candidate waabwe ate nga president w'ekibiina ekyo. Kakati era naye n'alangira nti agenda kujja okwesimbawo ku bukulembeze bwa Uganda 2026. Ebyo byemu ku events zinakusuubiza nti ebintu bingi bijjajja. That katudde ku kya General Kale Kayihura. General Kale Kayihura is kind of getting out of the layback. Is kind of getting back into play slowly. Now he's doing having interviews. He's coming back in the news. And this clip you have listened and watched, you have listened to and watched, is trying to communicate back, distancing himself from the allegations which probably yourself have had in corridors of him being involved in the killings of the sheikhs in Uganda, in some individuals, afandis, or officers like Felix Kaweesi ng'agamba banneesinze so n'olw'ensonga eyo okusinziira ku bigambo bye mbadde nsaba mu mwesonyiwe Jeno Kale Kayihura kati kwa ngamba ne William watutama olina olugezigezi anyway chap story endese ye enkulu katuvudde ku ziri nga nazo nkulu agobera Williams broadcast waliwo eggulire nga ddene waliwo eddoboozi tingenda okuzannyira omukulu President Bore yavuddeyo n'akutegeeza nti ebyo bya bulimba naye kansooke nkutemere ku kyagamba nti kya bulimba kansooke nkusomera ye kyawandiise ku social media eya Parliament of Uganda, and I captured this from Instagram. We have been made aware of an audio clip circulating on social media attributed to the Right Honorable Speaker Anita Among. The clip is fake and unfounded. We urge the public to disregard this fake content aimed to spread hate and misinformation. Byavudde kuki? Byavudde ku clip gyengenda okuzannyira male nkomewo tuli ku Williams broadcast wabula kutegettako katweyongereyo.
Museveni says he has apologized to the Baganda. He behaves as if that is the only part of the country he offended. Museveni burnt a full train of human beings.
In Teso.
Set a train on fire. Yes, in Teso, in Mukura. Set a train on fire and killed people in a bus, in a train. There is a university in Teso called Soroti University. Directly opposite that university, there is a swamp. Almost 1,000 people were killed by the Banyarwanda who came to help him and were all thrown in a swamp in front of that university. The children of Karamoja, you heard me, let me repeat it. Almost 1,000 people were collected from different areas of Teso and were dumped in a place called Apaltunga. Apaltunga, actually, if you translate it, it means we have given up because they have taken our people to kill. Banyarwanda killed people there. They came and stole our cows. Someone comes that he's taking care of a cow, even a calf, when it's born, and Munyarwanda will go and dig a hole, bury half of the body of the calf and leave the head up. After 3 days, they will pull it out and the calf will have changed color. And then they take it and own it. The children of Karamoja, today they are the ones begging for food because they are malnourished. When their parents had cows, everybody would laugh that those children are naked, but you'd never hear that they have diseases. Why? They are taking milk, they are eating every other thing, and they are looking healthy even when they were naked.
Eddoboozi ly'owuliriza ku Williams broadcast bangi babadde babitambuza nga bagamba lya Speaker wa Parliament ya Uganda Anita Among. Parliament nevaayo okuyita mu Crystal Bore nga bagamba bulimba. I'm being a journalist now. I know many of you hate journalists because a journalist will come with something white and the journalist will try to be like, it is alleged that this is white. It is alleged. It is said that this piece, this fabric is white. That's how we are told. So that tomorrow, muntu omu bw'avaayo n'alangirira n'agamba nti nze nakola eddoboozi eyo nendi fakinga, I am out. One of the reporters of this podcast, Princess Mimi, sent me a message, was like, you are an expert in artificial intelligence. Should we say that is artificial intelligence? I answered back to the reporter of this podcast. I was like, it's not artificial intelligence. However, it sounds like a real voice of the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among. But again, I cannot confirm because we have many artists in Uganda who can act that voice. Mbadde muna mawulire mubi. Mimi najukuba. You know, I know that yo trying to bring your professionalism into real stuff. But for me, I can authoritatively tell you it is her voice, even when she was heard on speakers when the microphones were left on in Parliament during the Mwanyi bill. She said, don't allow those propagandas to get numbers. When it circulated across public domain, she came back through Crystal Body again saying it was fake. Ingamba kale report ava ku simu ya boss wa TV. I am the managing director. You're a board member, you're a reporter, but I am the managing director. Vakusimo. Nimujia kusimo yo Princess Mimi. And at this particular moment, I cannot pick calls of other body members like Nasoro. I cannot pick Monica's phone now. Other directors are like Charles Musoke, California. I cannot pick their calls. Call a better Wickal, Massachusetts. I cannot pick your calls because you temumanyi bokuguwenyina mumawulire. Muja kuda muzanyire mu story, but on a serious note, that is it. It is what it is. The comment section should be your battlefield. Not accusing me, not attacking me, but bringing facts to the table or at the table. Put it there at the table or on the table or to the table. A lot is happening in Uganda. When I went on different platforms where this sound bites, in the news we call them bites. Okay, let us call it a clip because it carries, there is cinematography and videography carrying the audio. I've seen different people in comment section with allegations, alleging that what is heard in the voice is true. People are saying whatever is in the clip is true. And I'm like, why? Rajo, why? It is a speaker. Why? Chaga yaga yo. A lot is going to happen and still happening as we're heading to 2026. Is there a possibility of such? Actually, one of the questions I've asked Princess Mimi were like, in 2025, can a world speaker, be on phone and talk such, forgetting that might be tracked? Because, again, emphasizing the fact that your dog, stop it. I will. Bwalaba omuntu ebweru mbwasobola omugulira yo wamma nkubuulira mulokole. Emphasizing also my view of why it is not artificial intelligence is when you're listening to voices owuliriza n'owulira babadde bawultaratinga batya. So I'm trying to give my opinion on CAI. Empuliziganya empanyisiganya y'ebigambo netomera gye beetomera nomanya that was a conversation. Also the beeps of another caller on either side. Someone was trying to call one of them, so that's why there is a constant beep on one of the conversers. Also, artificial intelligence cannot be perfect with any African language, cannot be perfect with any Asian language, Arab language. It can only be with perfect on Australian English, okay, United Kingdom English, European English, American or Canadian English. With English, artificial intelligence can be that perfect, but it cannot be perfect with Uganda. And it cannot actually be perfect at being between a northerner and a central region person, because in the voice you hear someone speaking Luganda or in Uganda or communicating in Uganda, but not from the central region as per the accent. You can easily tell that is from the northern region, but fluently putting out Luganda statements, lines, but the accent is not from the central region. Muloko lontegedde bulungi nnyo. Omuwuliranga omuntu ono akasuka ebigambo by'Oluganda n'ennyiriri z'Oluganda naye enjogera temweyimirira. Ekyo nakyo artificial intelligence tesobola kikola. Nti omuntu emwogeze bw'atyo tebannatuuka waawo. So tunaabiwulira taddookirira ng'ombe ajja gidduukirira. Ebintu bingi bigenda kujja. Tuyingira mu kalulu ka 2026. Akalulu ako bw'owuliriza ffe abalina podcast zino olina okukimanya nti kati wano we tuli there is a thin line between the opposition and the regime side. It is hard now to be a journalist, to practice journalism of impartiality and objectivity, in quotes, because it is either truth or lie. Most of the people now are doing journalism, trying to do journalism, but we are finding it hard to remain in the middle because the status quo cannot allow anyone to remain in the middle now. You either say it is the truth or it is a lie. It is good, it is bad. What am I trying to drive to? The point I'm taking home is you will hear many people now coming out straight to tell the truth, and many people will come with politics and propaganda, trying to do public relations and damage control on the side of the regime. Mpolitizao clip emu nabo bayina online era nayo nkyaginoonyerezaako naye seetaaga ginoonyerezaako nnyo. Ng'oli agamba banne nti alina obukakafu nti Kyagulanyi yabadde ggu nti yasooseeyo MAO. So bannannyini podcast season nsaba mukola okunoonyereza okwo. It is an investigative story, but to me I was like, you know, nti Kyagulanyi principal national platform ye yasoose eggulu nga n'ensonga enkulu ze bagenza okwogerako zaakirebo kivumbi. At least waliwo ebintu bye mmanyi nga tuzze ku level yaffe ey'ekidongo gye mutalera kwagala kuwulira. Ffe ng'abadongo era bannamawulire tulina abantu betuludde nabo nga bagamba gundi akubye munnamawulire, gundi bamusasudde ssente agaanye okuyimba, gundi asambye girlfriend w'omugere, gundi asaze gundi ekiso. Nga tugamba kituufu nga tetunatuuka nabo. Gundi bamuwadde ssente za banne abagabire abawaddeko obusammambiro. Gundi stop it. Bombo what a youth. Nti gundi bamuwadde ssente z'abagundi abagabire abawaddeko obusammambiro. Gundi buli watuuka yayagala okubeera boss gwe kituufu. Waliwo ebintu bye tutawulira ku Kyagulanyi oyo. Kyagulanyi waliwo ky'omanya nti kati si fala nnyo. Waliwo ebintu bye bamugamba. So since I'm not supposed to do damage control and public relations for national platform, I'll just leave it there. But I'm a human being, definitely. And as I come to articulate other issues and analyze other issues, I can as well be objective enough when it comes to such stories of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu met Gen Salim Sali. Not that, but met him at this time and allow a podcaster to see them meeting, and for a journalist, produce pictorial, produce cutaways. Pictorial and videography plus audio bites are the only evidence for any journalist. The moment you come out and you're like, I saw them, your news editor, the news leader will be like, do you have the video? Do you have the pictorial? Because if it is supposed to appear in the New Vision, the Daily Monitor, they'll need that picture of General Salim Saleh and BOBI Wine sitting to talk or discussing matters regarding the Achilleos and Eddie Mutweis. For a journalist to allege such an epitome story happened, bring pictorial, bring videography. Also, they are called, those clips called cutaways. The cutaways, you cut away some clips of BOBI Wine's convoy arriving, or BOBI Wine's car arriving, and BOBI Wine's car parking, BOBI Wine getting out, BOBI Wine getting to the room or an abode or accommodation where they're supposed to meet. Some cutaways of General Salim Saleh getting out of the room where he came from as they meet with beautiful journalism. Otherwise, mbanja kugamba siriwalide muli as a journalist, you cannot, for shallow stories, you can come no na ye Trump yakambi bwati because okimanyi in public domain, people will go nebabyerabira oja just to mention. But for an investigative allegation about a story that Kyagulanyi made General Salim Saleh, you're supposed to have pictorial videography as evidence attached to that. And I'm not sure, and it is not there in this world where a journalist has such a hot story of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu seated with the General Salim Saleh and is not willing to bring the pictorial and videography. But locally, most of the institutes. But if you went to a university, if you have taken time to enhance your knowledge about the dynamics of mass communication, this is William's broadcast. I am like, it is not there. Kyagulanyi appearing or sitting with General Salim Saleh is a big story. A journalist is seated before a camera. Of course, it's not a mainstream TV where I watched it. It is an online channel. You know, we have misled sometime you, the publics. With public relations, we call it publics. We have, in most cases, most of the time, misled you. And the person will be like, General Salim Saleh met Kyagulanyi before MAO met there. And we are like, okay. During your podcast, your videography, communication of broadcast, you're able to produce the cutaways, the pictorial and videography of the delegates of DP in Igulu. You see? But when it comes to General Salim Saleh, whom you claim to have met Kyagulanyi before meeting Norbert Mao, you're like, just giving us words. Just giving us words. You need to have a bite, a sound bite. Omukulembeze wa national platform wekitiibwa Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ne mukyala we olunaku basitudde okwolekera olukalala lwa Ijindi okwetaba mu convention ya Bannagundi esangibwa mu Gundi buli mwaka. Kinajjukirwa nti katobali ebisingawo ne bakulaga Kyagulanyi ng'agoma ng'ayingira Logani okugenda mu Boston Convention 2025. Ne bakulaga Babi ng'akola catwalks, ne bakulaga Bamavini nga bamukima ne baleeyira. The cutaways, and after they will give you a voice of kakati nze mbabuulira tuzze Museveni oyo tujja mujjako era Museveni nkubuulira tujja kukwata JK ne tuwulira Leila ng'agamba we're very happy the president is here ne Mavin n'agamba oh indeed you shall remove a dictator the president. That is evidence that the guy is in Massachusetts, Boston at Logan International Airport. That is the news I would solo kakasanti jali kati ku story nene ngoloze ekyo Jeno Museveni abatakyagala yimbwa nino nnemeddeko. Ye bugoza mpu ebweru. Bakingidde okuzisera omudomo le bite. Bayi n'okubayi wamma. Bye. It is Williams Broadcast. Thank you very much for keeping it here. Don't be diverted by the new logo and stuff. Yefe bali bagamba. Yeah, Kadidas okalabye Monica. Kadidas okalabye Nasura. Abanyinaze bebange munnaye TX okalabye. TX was also the direct. Namaliza ono kana akaddiwanga na meka. Oyo mwana we Kole Berareka. Tasobola yadde okukwatira bw'Adidas buno. Yadde oyo kyazimusoke. Baagala obwa direct. Nete bamukolerera. They want me to appear good. Sinze nkaddi. Niyo olujjanja luli ku baana abo. Bula sikyaba kukwata masimu gabo. Goodbye.